Hello, this is my newsletter, Bartonville, Peoria State Hospital. This is the hospital right here. This is a quote from the Dr. Zibbler. It's Awful But Real by Mackenzie Jevitz, English 3, December 1st, 2016. What is the history of the hospital? The history of the hospital is a little weird. The hospital was located in Bartonville, Illinois, near the city of Peoria in Peoria County. It was first called Bartonville State Hospital. The first building was built in 1885 and the construction was finished in 1887, but the weird thing is that the building wasn't used at all. They tore it down in 1897, but they rebuilt the hospital in the same spot. The official story for tearing the building down was the building had cracks in the foundation. The hospital opened in 1902. The person who was in charge of the hospital was George A. Zedler. The hospital was renamed Peoria State Hospital. The hospital was an insane asylum. They do have 4 cemeteries. Most of the dead patients didn't have family. The hospital didn't know their real names of the patients. On their headstones, they had the patient's number, the year they were born, the year that they died, maybe the name of the patient that had died if they knew the name. This is Dr. Zedler, right here. Bookbinder at his own funeral. Bookbinder was a person who first came to the hospital in 1902. His nickname was Old Book. Bookbinder was mute. He got his name, Bookbinder, from working at a printing house as a manual bookbinder. Old came to the hospital because one day he was no longer able to talk coherently and was deemed insane. The doctor at the asylum diagnosed Book with mental aberration. Book had a plague of sorrow no patient could ever understand. Dr. Zedler put Book on burial detail. When the ceremony started, Book would go to the old elm tree and would start crying uncontrollably. When Book passed away, everyone, doctor, patients, nurses, came to his funeral and heard crying, and everyone looked to see who was crying, and they saw Book. Everyone was confused, so they looked in the casket, and there he was, in there, and his ghost disappeared. Later, Dr. Zedler ordered the tree to be removed. They tried, but they heard the wailing that sounded like Book. They tried a second time with fire, but they put it out because they heard crying. But eventually the tree fell down on its own. Since 1910, there have been reports of people hearing a man cry at one of the Peoria State Hospital cemeteries. This is Book's headstone. Here's his patient number, the name that they called him by, the year that he was born and the year that he died, and it was engraved with the saying, "In each death he felt a great sorrow. He wept at each passing tear for the unloved and forgotten, and now, old Book, we weep for you." Other hauntings. Some people saw shadows filled abandoned rooms. Some people heard sobs, whispers, and footsteps throughout the building. These are seen by the new owners and workers. And these are my sources.